So the video you guys are getting ready to watch is of the restoration of this piece right here. It's done and ready to go, but stay tuned and watch the restoration process. So the first thing I've done here is gotten this piece glued back on back here. Like I said earlier, this fell out of a truck actually right after they bought it. So it's really in good shape considering. But you can see it snapped this off and then it wore it down right there. Wore it down over there. Snapped some of these pieces of trim off. Got some wear marks here. But we'll get this thing all glued back together and refinished. It is quarter sawn oak, which is also called tiger stripe oak, because you got your grain running this way, but you could see a secondary type of grain. Almost looks like tiger stripes. We also may have to add some new knobs. These got worn down pretty bad. I guess they took the brunt of it. So here's two old knobs I found in my parts bin, and we'll use those instead of the old ones here, and they'll blend in just fine. And then the other knobs that were on there actually look like they were painted at some point, so we'll clean them up and go ahead and just paint them again. So we got this piece stripped. That's some filler there that I put in. Did a little filling of spots there. Some more filling. But now we're just doing some gluing. Gluing on some more of this trim. This was kind of a frayed corner from falling out of the truck, so I'm gluing that back. Luckily, being an older piece and very well made, there wasn't a whole lot of damage. We got this piece glued back on, but there's a chunk missing, so we're gonna have to use like a 2-part filler to get in there. And then some trim pieces fell off. This piece was actually right here, and it broke in half. There's a small piece missing here. And I got this piece here. So what I'm gonna do is, this originally broke off the side here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to transfer it to the front. I'm going to square it up, put a little 45 on the edge there, and that way the front will look good. So we're going to take this piece of oak here and make one of these to go in here. May not match up perfect, but like I said earlier, this is the side, and I did let our client know that it may not be perfect, but it'll certainly blend in pretty well. So let's get going on that. All right, so let's see. I didn't cut all the way through. Very thin, so I stopped about where I needed to, which is perfect. So I'm going to square this end up here. I think I'll just get that with the chisel and square it up. There we go. We cut this and butt it up in there. It's going to look great. So we'll get this marked and cut. And I may just use belt sander to kind of get that profile. So we'll just kind of mark this real quick. So we sanded this down here to give it the basic shape. You can see that. But of course now we're going to get these done on the inside. So I'm going to have to think that over for a little bit and see what we're going to do that. So if you see what I'm doing here, the low parts, I'm just cutting a groove in so I can kind of keep track with my little Japanese saw here. These are so nice because they cut on the pull rather than the push. So let's see if we can now cut at least some of this out. At a pretty drastic angle here. So there you have it. Do you even remember which piece we fabricated? It's this piece here. But we stained it, and I mean, you really can't tell the difference. So now we'll install these 3 pieces. We'll get them glued and tacked back on, and this piece will be ready to sand and stain. I just give it a quick once over, mostly with my hands, to make sure it's smooth and there are no rough edges. Good. So this piece is sanded and ready to go. So once my pads start to get kind of old and grungy, they become shop pads, like this one here. It's ripped in half. It's got some marks on it. It's not in the best of shape, so I no longer cover finished furniture with a pad like this, but now I use it in my shop. So when you're doing pieces like this, these are the doors. Both sides are going to get done. I like to have it, I'll sand the back first. And again, especially on these older antiques, insides are always so much more rough cut than the outsides. But I'll sand this side lightly. And that way, when I flip it, it doesn't have a chance of getting scraped or scratched. Even on softer pine wood, you know, it could scrape it or scratch it, but this way it won't. So that's what we'll do next. So I don't know if you can really see here. I wanted to show you. Like I said, this is the inside of the door. And they even used a piece here that was frayed at the end. So there are going to be a lot of areas that you're going to need to hand sand, like in here. I mean, I guess you could sand it with the sander. Sorry, this goes, you believe me, I do this for a living, but this goes through me. So it's hard to talk and sand at the same time. Even though you could get this with the sander, I got my grain on the main piece running this way. So this way, I don't kind of go across the grain as much as a chance I could have doing it with the sander. Now we'll flip it over. We'll do this side. We'll probably have to do some hand sanding over here. You got to watch it with the sander. I mean, you get in here with the edge of that sander and you can wear it down pretty good, and then you'll see it. And it's hard to feather it back out into the rest of the piece. But so you want to kind of be quick and easy in there, because it's going to sand much quicker than when you go to sand the whole surface. This is why I save things, especially from older pieces. I know I showed these earlier, but these are 2 oak knobs that I saved. I probably have had them for 10 years or more, but they finally go to use with this piece. So we got to build this back corner out again. Let the filler dry and we'll shape it out. I just put a couple nails in here to kind of act as like rebar. So like I said before, with this back edge, this is a piece that I had to glue on here to there. And then I filled over here. And of course, this is where there's, I'm going to have to put the new pieces of trim on. But I don't need to worry about all of this, because this backsplash piece is going to go on there like that. So if you look at it from the front, you can see it's nice and finished all the way through here. The only thing I'm going to have to worry about is this edge right here that was missing. So that'll have to be touched up. So here is our piece all sanded and ready to be stained. Remember, we got to do a little touch up here. But here's the one piece I had to fabricate. Here was the existing piece from that side that we've now put in on the edge there. And then we've taken the last little piece and put it back there. And again, remember this, we'll have a backsplash on it. So look at the tiger striping on here from that quarter sawn solid oak. It's all sanded, the drawers, the doors, front and back. And we're gonna get to staining now. Now I'm gonna put on the exhaust fan and we'll just use the compressor to blow some of this off, get the dust off. So I try to be as frugal as possible. Mostly because in today's world you have to be, but also because when I'm doing all this staining and things, once you stain with the rag, it's done. You can't reuse it. So I'll use rags for other projects, wiping glue, whatever. And then when it comes time for testing, I'll just cut little pieces of those rags to test my stains to see what I want to go with here. And I think by looking at it already, that's the color I'm going to go with. I'll try this next color. It's really just about the same. It might be a little darker. But let's see. Yeah, see, it's just maybe get a little more hue of orange to it. But, if I blend it, I mean, you could almost not even tell. And that's actually a little slightly orangier and a little lighter. So I think I'm gonna go with this. So I'll go ahead and stain the whole back to make that even. Pieces have to be stained top and bottom, back and front, whatever you may call it. I'll go ahead and stain the least seen area first, go on to staining everything else, and then come back and flip them and stain them. So it's, once again, kind of recycling. I take some of my old brushes that I use for other projects, whether it be touch-up or anything like that. And then I'll use this with the stain to get into the grooves real quick. Now, a lot of people, when they stain furniture, they'll use brushes to stain with. I never have. Haven't for 30 years, and I'm not going to start now. I've always wiped on my stains, sometimes wiping them off after, but I just find it quicker and easier. Fresh rags for staining because I don't want to get any contaminants from anything else. So we'll get all of this stained, let it dry probably for another day, maybe a few hours, and then we'll get to finishing. So here we go. Here's our stained piece, and then here's what it looked like unstained. So one of the main reasons I like to use a brush, other than the fact it speeds it up a little bit, is so basically you have this panel. It's free flowing in the joint here. So it can expand and contract to help stop it from warping and cracking. So when it expands and contracts from humidity in your home, use a brush to kind of squish some stain into that joint. If it contracts, you're not going to see bare wood there. All right, well, it is actually the next day. I went ahead and stained everything yesterday and then just let it dry overnight. And these are actually the handles for the drawers. They were looking pretty rough, so I cleaned them up and I was going to paint them black. But now that I look at them, they really actually have a pretty nice design to them. So I'm going to leave them like that and maybe just give them a coat or two of lacquer. I think they're going to look nice. We're going to spray this piece with lacquer to match some of the existing furniture that this piece will be going with. So we're going to start to mix this lacquer here. I'm going to mix it over here. I've already started to mix some, but I had to break out a new gallon here. So I'm going to get that stirred up. And I put some tint in here to get this piece just slightly darker and give it a little bit more of an orange hue to it. So once I put a couple coats on, it'll just be, just slightly darker. All right, well, we've got 2 coats of lacquer on this piece now. I've gone ahead and sanded between coats, and I've sanded everything but the top. So I'm just sanding the top kind of lightly here. Get it feeling smooth. We've got a couple more coats to put on. So we've got it all sanded up, but I need to touch this spot up. And then I want to just get this piece I had to fabricate a little bit darker. So first I'm going to go ahead and just tape this off. All right, so I'm going to quickly shade that. All right, here we go. And now we'll do a little quick touch up on this to blend that in some. There we go. The finished product. This quarter sawn oak has always been one of my favorite woods. Like I said before, not only do you get the grain going this way, but then the quarter sawn allows this secondary grain to come through. Also called tiger stripe, because you'll see it all over. Looks like tiger striping. Here's the touched up area. Blends in pretty good. And then the piece I fabricated back at that end there. All in all, I think it turned out really good. I think we're going to have some happy clients. I like the way these knobs turned out. And then the replacement knobs down here match perfectly. So there you have it. Welcome to our new channel here. We have one other channel. It's about camping and our camping adventures. If you would like to see that, go over to First Time RVers and you'll see plenty of videos on camping. And actually some woodworking videos in there also. Things we've modified and made for our camper. But anyways, we'll get this piece to our client, see how they like it. I think it turned out great. Repairs were made. It's solid again. And it's hard to believe that this fell out of a truck at 60 miles an hour. But it lives on to tell another story. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell down there if you want to see other videos that we do. They'll give you a notification when we upload those. Head over to First Time RVers. Watch some of those videos. If you like what you saw, give us a thumbs up. Comment. We always love reading comments. That would be on our other channel since this channel's new. If you want to see something, leave a comment. Tell us what you'd like to see. We will see you soon. Thank you and bye-bye.